Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on November the 29th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started here. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right, so as usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. In terms of the news coming up here, first of all, right now we are in low liquidity conditions because it is a holiday in the US. So to all my US friends, happy Thanksgiving. And this whole week is low liquidity week because of the Thanksgiving holidays, and then we have Black Friday. So expect that tomorrow as well. Today we didn't have much of a move in the markets, expecting the same tomorrow as well. And in terms of news that's coming up on Friday, we have a ton of news from the Euro zone, and basically just the Canadian dollar, GDP for the New York session. And then we also have manufacturing PMI numbers out of China that is in the evening, so we're not likely to see much of an impact from that till the next week. So that's what we have for now. So let's go on to our charts now. So just a quick note in regards to the US and China trade negotiations. We did see a response from China saying that they were not happy with President Trump signing the bill into law in regards to supporting Hong Kong, but they said that they were going to retaliate, but there would be consequences, but we haven't seen anything in regards to that. So right now, that one is basically, we're just waiting to see if they're going to respond or what the response will be. So that's what we have in terms of news. So let's go on to the charts here. As usual, we'll start off with our euro dollar here. So in regards to the euro dollar, today we are still, this is neutral now. Yes, they were looking for price to move, but there hasn't been much of a movement. Prices traded in a range, and now it's just going sideways. So as we can see, it is trading in a range at the moment. So I am expecting it to basically just stay in this at this time. There isn't much that is going on at this moment. And tomorrow on Friday, I'm not expecting much of a move either. So bias here is neutral for euro dollar. So basically, I would look for a move towards 1.1030. But if it stays below today's high here, then this one can drop a bit, but not expecting any big move. So we could still see this move to the downside, but bias is neutral for euro dollar. Next one is pound dollar here. Pound, we have a bit of a pin bar here. Again, a very small move in British pound here as well. So right now I would look for a follow through. So bias is slightly to the downside here, but again, this is still trading in a range here. So I'm looking for price to drop a bit. Again, it may not be a huge move, so just keep that in mind, and essentially targeting the base of this range here. So bearish bias and target here is 1.2820, although it may not get there. So just be mindful of that because of, I think we'll have lack of movement tomorrow because US traders will be away. Aussie dollar here, this one still, the bias is still to the downside. Looking for price to move lower, 0.6740 will be the target here still. So looking for slight move to the downside. So bearish bias here for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar here, our bias here is neutral. We have a neutral candle close, is a spinning top. So looking for price to just stay in this range that it's been trading in for some time here. And at this point, I'm looking for something like this, essentially just back and forth within the range. And the range that we have right now is between 0.6440 and 0.6380. So neutral bias here for New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD here, this one we have a doji here, so slight bias to the downside. I will look for a bit of a pullback into 1.3290 and then a move lower towards 1.3260. And if it breaks below, then I'm looking for 1.3240. But again, expect not that much of a move in the US dollar crosses here. So overall bias is slightly to the downside for dollar CAD. Gold here, gold is still looking range bound. It is still trading in the range, silver here. Silver is trading in a range still between, silver is trading in a range between 17.20 and 16.60. Right now, it's looking slightly bearish, but my bias is neutral because I'm just looking for it to stay in this range into next week. So at this point, pretty much everybody's waiting on China's reaction to President Trump signing the bill. In about 2 weeks' time, or 15 days, we do have the tariffs kicking into place, the new tariffs kicking into place. So if US and China are able to agree to tariffs not being put on, and then we should see all the safe haven assets drop and equity markets to go up. However, if tariffs do kick in because US and China are not able to come to an agreement on phase 1 of the deal, then we could see all the safe haven assets like gold, silver go up and equities to drop. So for the next little bit here, I'm looking for a range bound move. So in this case, we could see a drop in silver potentially towards 16.60, and then basically go back into the range. So bias is neutral to slightly bearish for silver, looking for a move towards 16.60. Gold here is also range bound. It is sitting, it's sitting low into 1453. So I will look for a drop here towards 1445 and potentially into 1435 here. So overall bias is bearish to neutral here. So we could see a drop. Now, only thing that I would see changing would be China's reaction. So should China take some action because they see US interfering in the internal affairs of China because of the bill being passed. Now the retaliation could have an impact on gold as well and push it up, but otherwise right now it is looking bearish. So 1445 is the first target and 1434 is the second target. Oil here, oil still range bound at the moment. So bias is neutral here, just expecting it to stay between 58.70 and 57.20. So neutral bias for oil. Copper here, copper is looking bearish here, but looks like it has moved up a bit on the close here. So it's neutral at the moment, and just looking for price to essentially trades toward 2.65. So slightly bullish to neutral bias for copper. Bitcoin here, today's move was neutral. However, it is holding below our resistance here. So previous support becoming resistance. So as long as price stays below 76.80, I will look for a move back into the bottom of this range that has been trading in towards 67.70. So neutral to bearish bias for Bitcoin. S&P 500, this one's looking neutral. It did drop, but price has moved back up. And as such, it is just holding. I would expect it to just be sideways here. Not expecting too much of a move here in the in S&P 500 with it being holiday in the US. However, the bias itself is neutral. It is holding above this previous support resistance level of 31.38. So if it keeps holding above that level, we could see price go higher. but I'm just expecting a range-bound move here from S&P 500. My apologies there. A little under the weather here. Okay, Nasdaq here, same thing. There is slight bearishness here, but overall neutral bias for for Nasdaq as well. So looking for price to essentially come into 83.80-ish level and just trade in the range between 83.80 and 84.50 here. So not looking for big moves here unless China says something. Otherwise, just looking for range bound move for Nasdaq as well towards 83, between 83.80 and 84.50. Dow Jones here, this one is looking range bound as well. It hasn't really made it through the resistance. It's holding very, very small move for the day as is expected because of the holiday in the US. And now I'm essentially looking for another day with very narrow moves for Dow Jones as well. We could see it, as long as price stays below 28,150, I would look for a move towards move a little lower towards 28,000 here. So neutral bias for Dow Jones as well. DAX here, DAX still range bound here between 13,300 and 13,000. So for the last 2-3 days, it's just traded in a very, very narrow range. So looking for it to trade between 13,180 to 13,300. So neutral bias for DAX here as well. FTSE is back into the range that it was trading in. So at this point, bias is neutral for FTSE as well. Looks like pretty much everybody's waiting on the reaction from China. If we do not see any reaction from China, we could see all the equities, or at least the FTSE and DAX push up. But for now, bias is neutral here for FTSE as well. And I'm just looking for small move tomorrow between 73.85 and 74.20. Same thing with Nikkei, very, very small move for the day. Now we could see a bit of a move higher here towards 23,600, but price is range bound at the moment. There isn't a lot of movement, and I expect it to not have too much of a movement into Friday either. So just expecting a very, very calm day in terms of the trading, especially in the New York session, because there's some news coming out in the European session. We could get a bit more of a move there, but otherwise neutral bias here. So that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful trading day if you are trading. However, it's best to not trade on low liquidity days. It's just best to just take a day off and relax a bit, and then we'll pick it up again next week. So have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye for now.